Hey everyone, I'm Alex Valbergs.
And I'm Paul Barchitta.
Welcome back to the Weekly Catch. First weekend of March Madness is in the books. We got the Sweet 16 all set up, and nobody else really cares about anything else in sports right now besides college basketball. So moving to the West bracket, Wichita State, LaSalle. Wichita State took down Gonzaga, the number 1 seed. I don't think a lot of people know a lot about LaSalle or Wichita State or where they are really, but that should be an interesting game. And Arizona, Ohio State is the other matchup in that. Arizona took down Harvard.
Arizona completely, really showed a true test. I mean, Harvard, they fought a little bit in the first half, but Arizona really had a really strong 20-point lead going out the whole game. So that's a pretty interesting matchup with Ohio State. So
yeah, one of the remaining Pac-12 teams in the tournament, and they're playing Ohio State, who had an unexpected scare versus Iowa State. Ohio State, led by Aaron Craft and Deshaun Thomas, like we said, we liked their experience in this tournament, and it really showed, especially with Craft's leadership in the last few seconds, and he hit this big shot.
So like we said, we have the shot right now, so here we go.
8 seconds to go. Craft with Paolo defending. Now a switch off. He's got Niang on him with 3. He better hurry. Puts up the shot, and he hits it!
Like we said, Aaron Craft, he's a big leader on this team. Him and Deshaun Thomas, we talked about it last week. That's why we like them. It was our pick for both of us. I still think they're going to move to the Final Four. It might even be an easier road now without Gonzaga or New Mexico. Really, the highest seed left in this is Arizona at 6. So I like Ohio State moving on in that West bracket. Do you?
I agree. Like I said, Kraft just shows that he has ice in his veins, that he can, you could trust him down the stretch with making big shots. Like you said, I was very close though, right on the 3-point line, but he ended up getting the shot and giving Ohio State the win. So,
yeah, absolutely. Those are the games on Thursday. Also, the other games on Thursday are Indiana, Cuse, and Marquette, Miami. Now, unlike the West bracket, this East bracket is the top 4 seeds. Right. So we're getting the best possible matchups we can get. Indiana and Cuse has some history. 1987 national championship. I'm sure there's still some hard feelings between the teams. Indiana had a scare versus Temple. Khalif Wyatt went off, and Cuse has played some of their best defense. They dismantled Montana. It was a 6-point game versus Cal, but it really wasn't as close as the score was, in my opinion. And Marquette, they're the cardiac kids of the tournament so far. They've won their 2 games by a combined 3 points over Butler. And Miami had another scare.
Like you said, right. So we had Ohio State, Miami, 2 of my Final Four picks. Both had a scare. Oladipo had the go-ahead 3-pointer to give Indiana the win. Larkin hit the big shot again at the end of that Miami game. Shane Larkin, I honestly think he's one of the best point guards in the country. Again, that he shows. So Indiana Cuse, would that be your favorite matchup of the tournament of the Sweet 16
right now? I really
like
like Indiana Cuse just because Indiana has been one of the top teams all year. And I know people doubt Cuse, but right now I think they're playing some of their better basketball of the season, especially defensively.
Right.
They were suffocating versus Montana and Cal. Cal's top 2 scorers had 3 points at halftime. They really shut them down for the whole game. So I like the way they're playing defense. If James Sullivan can hit some threes, and Michael Carter-Williams is a pass-first point guard, which he was in those games, I think they're playing their best basketball right now. I think that's going to be a really interesting matchup. But I want Cuse to go on, because I'm an Orange fan. But I'm going to have to stick with my pick as Miami. We'll see. Those are going to be two of the better matchups of the tournament.
I couldn't agree more. So now moving on into the other brackets on Saturday, we have Louisville, Oregon. Like you said, you picked. I didn't pick Oregon. I thought Oklahoma State was going to beat them. But
totally disrespected with that 12 seed.
Right. So in the Pac-10, and then Pac-12. I'm sorry, and Michigan State versus Duke. You love coaches. Coach K. You've been saying that matchup all the time.
Yeah, well, Louisville really didn't have any scares. They beat both their opponents pretty badly.
Yeah, Louisville's strong.
Oregon played really well. They didn't really have a close game yet. Michigan State and Duke. That's, Pitino, Izzo, Coach K. There's over 20 Final Four appearances between those 3 coaches in this bracket. It's going to be really interesting to see how this bracket plays out. What do you think?
Well, again, we have two final games. The Kansas-Michigan game, I think that's going to be the elite matchup of the Sweet 16. Like you said, Michigan dominated. They dominated VCU by over 20 points. Kansas, they came out slow against North Carolina. McLemore almost didn't. I don't even think he had a point.
Yeah, he was very quiet.
Jeff Whitney was a beast down low, so I like to see him. And Travis Relford came out of nowhere with 22 points, and he really led and leading that Kansas squad over the Tar Heels. So I like to see
that's going to
Burke
be an interesting matchup. Burke and Hardaway, and if they're getting the play from McGarry like they did in the last game.
Right.
Michigan is kind of similar to Syracuse, I think, in that they might be playing their best basketball of the season.
Now, yeah.
A lot of people doubted them. They were highly ranked at one point in the year. But, yeah, that's going to be a really interesting matchup.
Like you said, so Whitney and Relford come, and then McLemore comes to play. Kansas
will be
definitely be back in the
Absolutely.
Final Four. And then the final game, which everyone's been talking about, Florida Gulf Coast.
And Florida,
The talk of the tournament right now. Beat Georgetown.
The big boys of the state in Florida.
Yeah, Billy Donovan and crew in Florida. So
Yeah, Florida. They showed like famous alumni of Florida and Florida Gulf Coast, and Florida
Right.
Gulf Coast didn't have any. They
No,
had Chris Sale from the White Sox is the
I don't
only
even
one that they
know.
listed.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Right?
But yeah, that should be an interesting matchup.
But
The two Florida schools going at it. Florida's high flying. They beat Georgetown. They beat San Diego State. They really put a highlight reel
Almost
together.
a lot of people consider calling them the Clippers of this tournament because the Clippers with Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, them just throwing up alley oops and slamming them down.
They were dunking all over everyone.
We actually have one clip right now. Well, if we can just roll that real quick.
Bernard Thompson back in for the Florida Gulf Coast.
Haven't only made one in my life. I wasn't sure about the signal.
I was going to say, just like you used to do back in the day, right? But look, you still savor it, so you remember that. McKnight sets his screen. Comer looking. Winding up and slapping it down. McKnight climbing the ladder.
That was probably the best dunk of the first round.
That was just one of many dunks in that game.
Yeah, they were throwing it everywhere. Twitter and Facebook were blowing up over Florida Gulf Coast. And this is what the tournament's all about. This is the first 15 seed to ever make it to the tournament. Well, to make it to the Sweet 16 of the tournament. The school was only founded in 1997. Most of these universities are founded in the 1800s or like
Harvard
1905.
was the oldest school of all.
Yeah, these schools are founded hundreds of years ago. Florida Gulf Coast was founded when I was 7 years old, so
Exactly.
it's fun to watch. And I know if you're not a Florida fan, you're rooting for Florida Gulf Coast.
I'm actually
I would love
even
to see
rooting.
it.
They ruined my brat. You had Georgetown. In the
I had
Final
Georgetown
Four.
in the Final Four, but
So
might
as well root for them.
it's fun.
But Coach Andy Enfield and senior leader Sherwood Brown, they're really bringing the message that they really believe that they can go in this tournament. I was watching ESPN the other day, and one of the analysts, Tom Rinaldi, was actually in Florida doing covering the golf, the PGA Tour with Tiger Woods and company. But he got moved from the PGA Tour to go to the Florida Gulf Coast campus to see the men. And I watched this whole school is going crazy. This has been the biggest thing in school history. Like you said, it's such an early school. So really shows what the tournament's all about. That a no-name school can come and beat Georgetown.
That's the tournament when stuff like that happens. And I would love to see them move on. But obviously, Florida has the advantage. But we'll see. You never know what's going to happen. Nobody ever thought that they had the third worst odds out of the whole tournament to make it to the championship. So we'll see. But that's about it for the Sweet 16. We'll be back next week with Final Four coverage. I'm Alex Valbergs for Paul Barchitta. This is the Weekly Catch. I hope to see you next week.